for the spending on border-related issues. Going forward, what can you do from the state level to make sure that funding on border issues is distributed equitably right from the start?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing that, and it's funding that is important to support our local law enforcement and the work we're doing on border security. I've continued to fight for that funding and continue to secure it, and that's not going to change moving forward. DPS is who is administering those grants statewide, and so that will continue. Thank you.
Any follow-up to that? Okay. Eric.
Governor, good to see you. Eric Fink with Katie.
Hi. Yep.
The reimbursement, I understand, is about $900 million.
Mm-hmm.
Have you all at the governor's office gotten a letter from the federal government that that's in the works now? Can you kind of explain a little bit more about the process and what you're hoping to get from the feds?
So this was money that was appropriated in last year's HR 1, and it was $10 billion at the federal level. About $700 million of that in our application was state general fund dollars, and then the other $200 million was directly expenses directly that counties have expended. So this was an application, and I think Kim, I don't know if you want to talk more specifically, but it was an application that we responded to, and they are supposed to be making decisions late October. Anything to add?
Governor, you are exactly correct. The state submitted an
$900 million. Is that going to be how will that be distributed? You know, to something like somewhere like Cochise County and other southern Arizona areas, or is that's not probably yet decided? But how will that go about getting that ball rolling?
Sure, that's a great question. So this is the grant funding that was submitted is an amalgam, like the governor and the director said. So hopefully we'll receive a good amount of that, and when that comes into the state, it's my understanding it'll go to the general fund, and then it will be dispersed from that point.
It's reimbursement. It's reimbursement for money we've already spent. So it'll largely be general fund.
Thank you.
Good morning, Governor Hobbs.
Hi.
Jeff Davenport, the voice of Arizona and CoolFMLive. Great to see you today. What are some of the specific things that are brought up in a situation like this when you come and gather the local leaders of law enforcement in Cochise County? We know how much you are passionate about securing the border and keeping things safe. What are the specific things that were addressed today in that room that you are actually able to take and do with that?
Well, this is not the first time we're having this kind of conversation. I've been engaging in these kind of discussions since I took office, especially with our partners in local law enforcement here in Cochise County and southern Arizona, because they are dealing on the front lines with so much of the border-related crime. So we heard today a lot from folks about how the funds supporting as we can because working with them is critical to keeping Arizonans safe.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Alex Trauma, KK 9. Governor, why is it important that the state goes after the federal government for this reimbursement funds?
We have been sending the federal government bills for the state funds that we spent on border security for years. And this is the first time it's ever been appropriated by Congress. And so I think, those previous bills are justified in now that Congress has appropriated those funds. And as shown in our application, just in the last 5 years, we've spent almost $1 billion of state tax dollars on border security. This is a federal job, and they need to pay us back for the money that we've spent.
What happens if the state doesn't get the reimbursement funds?
Well, I hope we don't have to have that conversation. I mean, we're a border state. We've been on the front lines more than a lot of other states who are also probably requesting reimbursement. And I think if we're having that conversation, then I think there's a political ramifications there that are very frustrating. I hope that this funding is not politicized.
So to take a wider look at these border security issues, looking at the trends that you're tracking on a state level, have the issues of things like crime at the border, are those trending, are those trending up, are they trending down? What do we see, what are we seeing in terms of actual numbers?
Sheriff, do you want to take that?
Sure.
Do you want to come to the microphone?
Thank you.
And I speak collectively with my fellow police chiefs and our troopers here, is the fact that it's actually trending down. And that was a trend out of Washington, D.C. I call the border a manageable border now, which is like when you have manageable policing in your community, you're doing the right thing. But that doesn't mean it's going to change. It won't change tomorrow. And the sustainment is more important now. We got to be the smartest now than if it happens again. What we saw on the last administration was horrific in this county, horrific for the state. The state stood up, sheriffs, police chiefs, we all stood up, our troopers stood up, we all did the right thing. And now all we're asking back is for the federal government, under this grant, that's what the grant was designed for, to go back and reimbursement. This is not something we're shooting a dart at a dartboard. This is a grant that says if you put costs towards securing the border, Governor Abbott out of Texas, if I'm not mistaken, is doing the exact same thing with his media talking about going after it. So again, all we're asking is reimbursement for the good work we've done in Arizona to protect our citizens, and we put that back forward to continue to sustain what we're doing here.
Thank you. President Fold?
Yes.
Yes, so to kind of build off of that point, Governor Hobbs, what's the role of your office, as well as the local law enforcement in putting pressure on the federal government to ensure that they maintain their role and their responsibilities in managing border crime and border issues?
I think building partnership between the state and local agencies has been really critical in going to the federal government and expressing what we need from them and how they've been, in some regard, failing on the job, and really being able to work together and carry that message together has been really critical. And I think really.
For Sheriff Daniels, and feel free, Governor, if you'd like to weigh in as well. But Sheriff, you and I have talked in the past often about the need for the federal government to step up here. How critical is it that you see some dollars in return? And where are you in terms of, and you all have spent a lot of money. Where do you think you'd like to see some of that money go if it does indeed come back to the county?
Well, it's critical. $900 million is a lot of money. I mean, and that just shows you the good effort of our. This started with Governor Ducey, moved into Governor Hobbs, who took the torch and continued forward with our state legislative folks for all the right reasons. The federal government, under the Big Beautiful Bill, came out, President Trump, and this is what that's designed to do, is to reimburse the communities and states that came up and stepped up and did the right thing. That money, talking to the governor in previous meetings, is to go back and to protect this state. And programs like this border center. This is a state partnered border center with sheriffs, police chiefs, and our governor, our sitting governors. Governor Ducey set this up. Governor Hobbs has been a great partner when it comes to this border center. So we have to continue in the future. And sustainment's everything. Prevention and sustainment. That money needs to go back into that area and continue a manageable border instead of borders in disarray. That's the biggest key.
Just ask one question for CoolFM.
Governor Hobbs, when looking at the faces of our local leaders here in Cochise County, obviously this reimbursement is a very large number, but when you hear their stories and you understand the sacrifice that each of their departments have made, do you think it's enough?
Well, I don't know that there's ever enough, and we're dealing with tight budgets all the time, but I'm so appreciative of all of our local law enforcement and the work that they do every day to keep Arizonans safe, and appreciative for their partnership, working with our state agencies, and I will look forward to another 4 years of that partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
So it's Jeff Davenport live here at the, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were ending. Oh, Jeff Davenport Live hanging out with you at the Sheriff's Border Office as Governor Hobbs is wrapping up her gaggle with the media. Thank you so much to the Ed Morse Automotive Group for sponsoring this video, and it's great to see her shaking hands with all of our Cochise County local law enforcement, from people at the County Attorney's Office, from Sheriff Mark Daniels to Sierra Vista Mayor Clea McCaw, people representing Benton. I see Chief Heiser here as well, and all parts of the county. They're coming together for one last photo. Absolutely. No worries at all as they get their final photo here. One last class photo. You know, this is like the class photo. Is that what this is? That's what we got going on. But great to see the governor coming down and addressing these issues as far as the challenges that are underway for this federal reimbursement that they're looking at doing and hoping that it comes through. My friend Alexis asked a great question about what happens if it doesn't go through, and having the governor address that, very important here. So Governor Katie Hobbs visiting Sierra Vista today. Glad you're joining us on this episode of Cool FM. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody. I'll check in with you again later on.
Anyone else?
I think we're good.
Okay, we're good.